A new study this morning reveals the damaging effects of marijuana use. This research comes from the proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences.
It finds that long-term marijuana use deteriorates the part of the brain responsible for decision-making. The effects are more severe in people who start using at a young age. Our Dr. David Agus is with us from Los Angeles. Dr. Agus, good morning.
Good morning, Charlie.
What do we make of this?
Well, there have been studies done in mice showing that if chronic marijuana use makes the frontal lobe of the brain smaller. And the data in humans just wasn't that definitive. Now, with over 100 individuals studied with and without marijuana use, we can clearly say that people who use marijuana have a smaller frontal lobe, the decision-making part of the brain. But what's interesting is they also have more connections out of that area. And the more structural changes happen, the younger they start. But after 6 or 7 years, those structural changes start to go away.
So did they already have a smaller frontal lobe, or did the marijuana shrink their brain?
Key question, and the answer is we just don't know. This was a study looked at one moment in time. They took people by questionnaire who used marijuana versus not, and they looked at those. It wasn't what we call a prospective study. You know, marijuana is rated a Class 1 narcotic, so it is very, very difficult in our country today to do real studies by giving patients or subjects marijuana. That part needs to change so we can study it.
You know, Dr. David Agus, here in New York City, they just announced they would no longer be arresting people caught with small amounts of marijuana. We just had an election where it became legal. Recreational marijuana became legal in some additional states. Do you think this type of study could have an impact on public policy?
No question. I feel like I should be holding up a bag of oregano when I answer this. But there's no question a study like this really puts into our heads that there are changes in the brain, especially in young people when they use marijuana. And so I think it is somewhat premature to go forward with these legislations. Again, I'm not a policy expert, but I think we need more study to understand it, because I'm somewhat afraid after seeing data like this about what could happen.
So what will you need to know before you would recommend medicinal marijuana?
Well, there are two things. One is I want a prospective study. That is, I want to follow people before and after they use marijuana use to show that the changes of the brain are actually from the marijuana use. Second is an observation in this study is that people who use marijuana had a slightly lower, significantly lower IQ than the people who didn't. And again, we want to follow that over time.
All right. David Agus, important information. Thank you so much.